Iran makes entry into the US-Venezuelan conflict with big move. As tensions in the Caribbean soar, Iranian Foreign Minister Syed Abbas Araghchi spoke to his Venezuelan counterpart, Yván Gil Pinto. Both the foreign ministers discussed bilateral relations and developments in the Caribbean region, the Iranian Foreign Ministry said in a statement. During the telephonic conversation, Aragchi expressed Tehran's solidarity and extended support to the Venezuelan government led by Nicolás Maduro. The Iranian minister said that the international community bears responsibility for firmly opposing what he described as illegal and unilateral actions. The telephonic conversation between the two foreign ministers comes amid the increasing hostilities between US and Venezuela. The US military on Saturday stopped an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela for the second time in less than 2 weeks. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said that the US Coast Guard, with the help from the Defense Department, stopped the oil tanker that was last docked in Venezuela. Earlier, Donald Trump, after the first tanker seizure, had vowed that Washington would carry out a blockade of Venezuela.
Does the U.S. have the goal of removing Maduro from power? Do you expect any regime change this 2026?
Look, our goal is regional stability and security in the national interest of the United States. The national interest of the United States, specifically when it comes to Venezuela, is as follows. We have a regime that's illegitimate, that cooperates with Iran, that cooperates with Hezbollah, that cooperates with narco-trafficking and narco-terrorist organizations, inclusive not just protecting their shipments and allowing them to operate with impunity, but also allows some of them to control territory, the ELN and the FARC-D. Okay? The ELN and the FARC dissidents operate openly. They have like open camps that they control territory inside of Venezuela. That is our national interest, and that is what this is focused on. And that's what the president's been focused on.
In congressional approval on land strikes, do you think that the United States does need to go to Congress in order to conduct land strikes in Venezuela?
Well, look, I'm not going to speculate about things that haven't happened and may never happen. I'm not going to speculate on that. All I'm going to tell you is that two things. And I remind Congress all the time. By the way, I was very consistent on this position because it was my position when I was in the Senate. Number one, no administration, Republican or Democrat, has ever accepted the War Powers Act as being constitutional. That said, multiple administrations, including this one, have sought congressional approval and or certainly congressional notification of actions taken. Why? Because American action is always strongest when it has the buy-in and the participation of a broad set of actors. Now, given our current political climate, that's not always easy because we do have people today in politics that are against everything that President Trump is for. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if they themselves had the same position. If it's President Trump's idea, they're against it reflexively.
Nosotros estamos en nuestra ley.
We are within our rights. We are on our land. We are defending what is most sacred to a country, the right to a future for its children, its families, its people. War? We have said no. In the United States, the vast majority of the population is against any military intervention. They say in the United States that interventionism must end. Today, I spoke with the Secretary General of the United Nations. We spoke at length, and I fully explained to him the escalation of aggression and threats and what happened yesterday and today when the United States said that they belong to them and that we Venezuelans are stealing their oil. In other words, Venezuelan oil belongs to them. Venezuelan minerals, gold, and all minerals belong to them. And what we had never heard before, that the lands of Venezuela belong to them, and that we have to return them immediately.
Y lo que nunca habíamos escuchado, que las tierras de Venezuela le pertenecen a ellos y se lo tenemos que devolver de manera inmediata.
Venezuela's Latin American neighbors, too, condemned U.S. boat seizures.
El gobierno de Estados Unidos ha llegado al colmo de plantear.
The U.S. government has gone as far as to raise the dangerous intention of totally and completely blocking oil tankers entering and leaving Venezuela. This is a brutal and risky wartime measure against a country that represents no danger to them. I have serious doubts about the recent Venezuelan elections. I said so publicly. You reported it. It's there on the internet. I did not attend the inauguration. Other Latin American countries did not either. Neither Mexico, Brazil, nor Colombia recognized it. We were together at that time trying to help the Venezuelan people to find a solution to their problem by themselves, seeking not to provide the solution ourselves, but to mediate so that it could happen. None of that worked, and we entered into the current situation.
The targeting of tankers comes as Trump ordered the Defense Department to carry out a series of attacks on the vessels in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific Ocean. At least 104 people have been killed in 28 U.S. strikes since early September. The strikes have faced scrutiny from U.S. lawmakers and human rights activists who alleged that the Trump administration offered scant evidence that the targets were indeed drug smugglers.
You know, I have deep concerns about the justification. We are hoping, and what everyone needs to do is this. Every person in this country needs to at least be sure that every member of Congress sees this video. It is up to us to declare war. It is up to us to see that they're withholding this video, number one, is particularly distressing. Number two, why do they release some videos and not this video? And so they say, well, those videos are edited. Well, you may edit out sources and methods in these videos as well. So again, their justification for not allowing members of Congress, who this is our oversight ability, firing inspector generals, kicking out of the press squad from the Pentagon and replacing them with people who are not members, real members of the press, again, removes transparency, removes oversight. They're not allowing us to see it. And if they could edit all the other videos that Secretary Hegseth he liked, they can sure as hell edit this one. And so again, Secretary Hegseth is showing his deep disdain for members of Congress, his disrespect for members of the military and the rule of law and the rules of war and engagement.
This just confirms what I said yesterday, that the processes we're using to find, fix, and finish these terrorists are the same processes we've been using across multiple combatant commands, geographies all over the world, multiple administrations, Republican and Democrat, with allies as well, our Five Eyes allies and our NATO allies. We've been conducting thousands of strikes like this for years. It's not pretty for folks in this body, very few of whom have served, even fewer have served in combat. Seeing people get killed on video is not fun, and they don't like the messy reality that we kill bad guys, and that's our job. So Admiral Bradley's done a great job. I'm totally confident in the legal basis for what he's done. And we got to keep going, because until these guys are done shipping drugs, there's still a threat. It's worth pointing out that since these strikes have begun, the amount of drugs crossing into America has absolutely plummeted. And those drugs kill thousands, tens of thousands of Americans. So the job that this task force has been given by the administration, which is to eliminate the flow of drugs into this country, is working. And everything they're doing is legal. So they have my full support.